Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today is April 2021. We're having a revised look at the controls for the AV-8B Harrier in DCS World. I'm going to show the controls that I've got set up. I'll explain very roughly where I put them on my HOTAS. You'll probably have a different HOTAS, so you can roughly assign them to the same place if you want. The main thing you will gain about this is which are the useful controls to bind on your HOTAS. So, Options menu, Controls, select the aircraft there. Here we can choose the subcategory. This is how we will find the various controls that we need. Note that with the all subcategory we get all of the commands. There are hundreds of them, but don't worry, we only need about 20 to 30 to fly the plane and do everything that we need to do. Just in case this is your first plane, this is the particular action. This is the category it belongs to. This is any keyboard bind that we have to it, and there will be several on default. This is my left HOTAS, or throttle quadrant in this case, my right HOTAS, or joystick. This is a separate panel that comes with the particular wing I've got. You probably won't have it. And this is my rudder pedals. Again, in case it's your first aircraft, to set one of these bindings, we will go for instance. This action here, keyboard, double click with the mouse, type in the key that you want to bind to it, press OK. Okay, right, let's blast through them. So, as ever, we'll start our subcategory, Axis Controls. I like to start from the bottom because I'm a bit backwards. So, zoom view, I've got set to a slider on my throttle handle. You can see it sliding up and down there. Wheel brakes, left and right, I've got them set to the toe brake action on my rudder pedals. Note, you may need to invert them. If you want to invert them, axis tune, invert there. Mine are inverted. Next, thrust, set to my main thrust lever. Next, optional, throttle designator control, horizontal and vertical. You can set them to a two-way axis switch if you've got one, and I've got one on my throttle. Next, rudder, obviously, you'll need to set to your rudder pedals. This is the first one. You may also want an axis tune. Axis tune, you may want to put a curve on it. This gives you extra detail around the small movements of the control, and about 25 is what I like to do for that. Okay, roll and pitch, you'll need to set obviously to your stick. Forwards, backwards, left, right. Depending on your stick, you may want to put curves on them. I don't, because I've got a large extension on my stick, so that's up to you. Next, nozzle angle. You'll want an axis on either your stick or your throttle, and I've got mine as the left throttle grip on my throttle quadrant. That's the axis. Next, again, I just like starting at the bottom. V-stall controls. Control of your flaps. I would suggest using flaps down, flaps up. These will cycle through the 3 different flap options. I've got them on a two-way switch here on my throttle handle. Next, view. Completely up to you, but I would suggest having zoom in slow, zoom out slow. And I've got them as a two-way switch on my throttle. It's just another way of zooming in and zooming out. Next, moving up here, hydraulic and mechanical. You will need this to even be able to spool the engine up and down. Parking brake off, parking brake on. Not only does it have a physical parking brake effect, it also disables the engine throttling. I've got it as a two-way switch on my throttle handle. Next, HOTAS. Here's the big one. So let's start with trim. You'll need trim up, down, left and right. I've got them on a basic four-way switch on the top of my control stick. Let's do triggers and firing weapons. Main trigger is obviously on your trigger there to fire those weapons there. And we'll skip up as well. The weapon release, or the bomb pickle, is here for dropping your bombs, rockets and mavericks. Let's go back. TDC, very important, throttle designator control. We will need forward, aft, left and right. I've actually got them as my keyboard because I ran out of commands on my joystick, so that's how I've done it. If it can go on your joystick, that would be superior. They also have an associated down or press position, and I've got that as a spare button on my control stick. Next, probably the most important, sensor select switch. I'm using a four-way switch with a pressable action on my Hornet replica stick. That on the Hornet is the sensor control switch. So forward, aft, left, right, and a down position, which is the press action. These essentially select your sensors, but do all sorts of other things as well. Next, we're going to move up. We've got countermeasures. There are 4 commands you can have, but we're just going to do aft for chaff, forward for flares. That's on the two-way switch on my throttle handle. Next, cage, uncage, going to be used for the sidewinder and possibly other things. It's a single button on the right of my throttle handle. Bomb pickle we've already seen. Air brake, out and in. We're going to need, again, a two-way switch on the side of the throttle handle. Next, a cheeky little one here. Ground, target, undesignate. Also it does nozzle steering, also it does field of view, and that is going to be on the front of my stick. I've got the actual nose wheel steering button from the Hornet. Next, air-to-air weapon select. I've got them on a 4-way switch on my control stick for Sidewinder with bore sight search, Sidewinder with seam search, or gun. And that is the end of our HOTAS. Next, we're going to go back a little bit because I missed one. Keyboard macros. Simple but useful. Start procedure, stop procedure. Do exactly what they say on the tin. That's all the controls I use for the Harrier, April 2021. I hope that was useful and see you later.